All right. Hi, everybody.
Okay,
Oh, shoot.
let me start recording.
Hold on.
All right. Hi, everybody. Oh,
Why
shoot.
am I getting the feedback? Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
There was something I had to turn down.
Hold on. There was something I had to turn down.
Oh, shoot.
There was something I had to turn down.
Oh, shoot.
Something I had to turn down.
I'm not sure what that was. Do you guys know?
I mean, it sounds like you have two devices.
Yeah.
But you don't?
I'm not sure what that was. Do you guys know?
I mean, it sounds like you have two devices.
Yeah.
But you don't?
I'm not sure what that was. Do you guys know?
I wonder if.
It sounds like
Oh, shoot. Okay. I think we're good. Basically,
Right.
when it pulls up on Facebook on your computer, I think there's some feedback there. All right, welcome everybody. Super excited about, well, you know these girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to really get to know them and to hear some strategy, and I don't know what they're sharing today. So I'm super excited about that. But you guys know, I mean, these are two of my favorite people, my closest friends, and I love their journey together as mom and daughter. And I am excited for them to share with you today. So I'm just gonna give it to them, let them take it over, and I can pop in and ask questions later, but you guys just jump in and share your story.
Okay, awesome. Well, I will go ahead and get started. So I actually joined the company back in '99. So for those of you that know me, you know I've been around for a while. And the whole reason I decided to join was really twofold. One, the discount, it was a no-brainer. I wanted the product, and why pay full price? So there was that. But the other side of that is I just kind of thought it sounded fun. I didn't have any huge goals or expectations with it. So I signed the day I had my very first facial. I didn't overthink it. I didn't overanalyze because I wasn't worried about what the outcome was. I just wanted to have fun. And that's why I joined. And then I did. That's exactly what I did. So I didn't miss a thing. And there's a couple things that I say why I'm still here is one, because I always showed up. I always showed up because I wanted to have fun. I showed up to every success night, every banquet, every retreat, every seminar, every career conference, because I was in it for the girlfriends, the sisterhood, the fun. And along the way, I did learn how to build a business, and so I did do those things, and I participated in challenges because I did like the recognition and prizes. And so it was a very organic process for me when I was building my business in the early days. So at the time when I first joined, I was happily married and had a little boy. He was 7 months old at the time. And so my focus in my life was definitely being a wife and being a mother and helping my husband with his business. And Mary Kay fit into that life really easily because we don't have quotas, as you all know. And so that's kind of how I started. I did that for a lot of years. We added a little girl to our family who is on the screen today with us, Isabel. And so kind of fast forward about 6 years into my journey, my life dramatically changed because I became a widow unexpectedly, leaving me as a single mom with a little 6-year-old boy and a 4-year-old little girl. And, it was never a vision for my future. and I never entered the career field. So even though I was an educated woman, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, I have a bachelor's in criminology. Later, I went on to study a master's in forensic psychology, but I had never entered the career field. So I didn't have a way to financially provide for my children at the time. And my Mary Kay business was a hobby. So I had to figure out real quick what the heck I was going to do with my life. And what I had known was that I was in Mary Kay long enough, and I went to enough events to see that there were a lot of women building their business, making executive level income, and I thought that was my answer. I knew Mary Kay was the answer to how can I be the mom that I want to be, but yet provide income, and it almost seems like an impossible task, but I decided to learn how to do Mary Kay real. I thought I'm teachable. I can figure out how to do this. And so that's what I did. That was over 15 years ago. So the majority of my Mary Kay journey has been as a single mom. I've been an empty nester now for about 2.5 years as my children have grown up and, have started their own lives. But so I was that single mom, and I was trying to figure out how to do everything, how to be everything to everyone all the time. And so we all have our own little obstacles that we have along this Mary Kay journey, and all of our obstacles are different. And we all think our obstacles are the biggest. That's what I can tell you from when we talk to everybody, right? We think our problems, our obstacles are harder than everybody else's, when the truth is they're just not. Everybody has their own obstacles. So I love my business. I'm passionate to share it with other women because it has absolutely been life-changing for me. And as you're going to hear Isabel's story, it was life-changing for them too. Mary Kay made me a better woman. She made me a better wife, and it definitely made me a better mother. So I definitely want to share this with other women because it makes such a huge difference in our life, and that's passed down to my children. So where I'm at currently, I'm a senior sales director. I've been driving now my 7th free car with the company. And sometimes we take that for granted, but every day I try to be grateful for those little things. And it's been an amazing, like I said, amazing journey. And so I'm looking at the next chapter of my life, and Mary Kay is going to be my forever. Recently someone asked me, like, will you do Mary Kay forever? And yeah, like, why would I do anything else? Because I love everything about it. And hopefully you guys as consultants, you are experiencing something very similar. One of the things that as a sales director, like, I want everyone to have a pleasant experience in this company. I want you to love the product. I want you to be happy with the experience, whether it's learning how to build customers, getting mentorship from, your sales director, your recruiter, and that kind of thing. I want your experience to be pleasant, happy, joyful. And that's my goal as a sales director, as I'm working with other consultants and all that. So both my children, like I said, they're out of the nest. My son literally just graduated college last weekend. Can't believe it's already been 4 years for that kid. So he lives in Texas, and then you're going to meet my daughter here. She lives in California. And she's all grown up herself. So that's a little bit about me, my story, Mary Kay, and I'll pass it to you, honey buns.
I'm muted. No matter how many times you do Zoom and you watch other people talk while they're muted, you'll think, oh, that won't be me, and it will be you. So my name is Isabel Lopez. Yes, I am the daughter to Cassandra, so the one that you guys just heard from. I started my business, actually last month was my 2-year anniversary. So I've been with the business now a little over 2 years, and then I've been a sales director for over a year now. When I started my business, I had actually, a little backstory. I graduated high school a year early. So at age 17, I was like, I'm ready to go. Okay, I'm ready to go. Whatever my life looks like, dance, whatever it was. So I have grown up doing dance my whole life. And so I knew I did want to pursue that a little bit longer. And so I moved to Vegas to pursue dance, essentially. And that was when I was 17 years old. Now, I always like to share because people think I'm crazy when they're like, you lived in Vegas by yourself when you were 17. My mom quickly mentioned that Mary Kay gave her a lot of other things. One of them being like being the great mom she was and all that, right? But something that Mary Kay did give her was, and all of us, is the ability to dream and believe in people, see what they're capable of. And so I think my mom's Mary Kay business, for her being able to transfer that to us, because the reason why I graduated early and the reason why I went to Vegas and just started doing whatever I thought was going to work for me was because my mom always supported whatever I wanted. So if I said like, I think I can do this, she was like, you can do this. This is what you need to do to be able to graduate high school early, you know? And so, and I know Mary Kay provided that. Like, it really does allow us to dream within our lives and anything that we do. So I left to pursue dance in Vegas at 17. After I graduated from the private dance school I was in, I then was moving to California. So LA, the center of everything in California. Okay. And I went to my mom and I said, hey, I think I want to start Mary Kay. And the interesting thing is my mom never was like, are you going to do Mary Kay or any of that? Right. It was never like that. But what I will say is growing up in Mary Kay, being in that pink bubble my entire life, I think deep down, I always knew I was going to be in Mary Kay. Like, if you grow up in the pink bubble, you would never want anything else for your life. It's so funny because I actually was talking to mom. I feel like people throw shade to us because they see our lives and think it's so luxurious, which it is, but they throw shade. They'll be like, well, not all of us own our own business. I'm like, okay. So I think, growing up in Mary Kay, I always knew I was going to do it. So it was just the time of my life that I didn't know where it was going to be, how much it would mean to me, all that. So at 18, 2 months after I turned 18, I was moving from Vegas to California. And that's when I decided to give the business a go. I had been working part-time as a server in different restaurants pretty much since I left home. So I continued that. So when I moved to California, I was still working in the restaurant industry serving. And then I was just sprinkling Mary Kay in and around everything that I was already doing. So moving to a new state, a new city, starting a new job, pursuing my dance career, and then throwing Mary Kay on top of that. That was my life. And for about 2 months starting my business, I would pretty much describe myself as Hot Mess Express. Didn't know what I was doing, really was Hot Mess Express. To give you guys a little hope, I went to my first appointment at a Starbucks and I didn't know the order of satin hands. Okay. So you can start from like square zero and grow wherever you want to go because the effort you put in is what you get out. So that was my first appointment with a lovely young lady. And after that, I grew tremendously. So I ended up having another move in my life, and I did move again in California. I'm still within California, just a different city. And that change was very, very good for me. It just made me more stable. And so because of that, I was able to really dive deep into my Mary Kay business. So essentially what ended up happening was I was making more money doing Mary Kay than I was anything else. Dance career, working part-time as a server, which if you know anything about serving, you can make a lot of money in tips. And I work really hard. So I was making more money doing Mary Kay than I was serving. And I was like, well, let me do more Mary Kay. So then in those next 4 months in my business, I actually debuted as a sales director and earned my first free car, the Chevy Malibu. So that was really, really exciting. It was an exciting time in my life, just growing into that position. And learning. And I feel like a lot of questions that I get is like, how'd you move up so quickly and all that? So those are going to be some of the things that I'm going to touch on in just a sec. But yeah, so in those next, like the first 6 months of my business is really where all the juice happened, became a sales director, earned a car. 6 months after that, I then earned like my bonuses of the $1,000 bonuses, the rings that they give us as sales directors and all that. But one of my favorite things about my business to this day is really just like the growth that I've had and then the friendships that I've made within, because I did live in California and I didn't know anybody, not one single person did I know in the state of California. And I had the ability to meet people through my business. And so that was definitely a huge blessing for sure. But yeah, I love this opportunity. I really think it's amazing. When I first started Mary Kay, if you would have asked me, I'd have been like, everybody needs to do Mary Kay. I don't care what they're doing. They need to do Mary Kay. And I still feel that way. But when you first start, you're just like, you have that baby-like faith. And I think it's super important to keep that all the way throughout your business forever and ever and ever. So that's a little bit about me. Now I'm going to actually go ahead and Jen, is it okay if I go ahead and move into some of the training and whatnot?
Yes, absolutely. You guys just go for it.
Okay, fabulous. Okay, so what I'm going to kind of talk about is kind of moving up, how to move up, but also recognizing where you're at and being thankful where you're at, and just a lot of different things in that general area. So, like I said, I became a sales director in 4 months. Well, I actually went into DIQ and became a sales director in 2 months. So it only took me 2 months to finish DIQ. And there's really no secret to it. So I'm going to tell you guys that. So the main things that we always focus on is we book, we coach, we sell, and then we recruit, like those 4 things. Okay. If you guys don't have that written down somewhere, like everywhere, write that down. A little tip of something that I always did. If you're not a competitive person, you don't need to try to compete with other people. You need to stay in your own lane, figure out your goals and all that, but you need to compete with yourself. And what I did at every single meeting, whether you guys meet virtually, in person, whatever you guys do, you guys should be opening up your date books and writing down your numbers each and every week. Each and every week, I remember doing this. Now, I am a competitive person. But just in general, just to be myself, I would write my numbers down each and every week. So Thursdays is the nights that we do success night. And so if you were to look at my past date books, and honestly, it would be kind of cool to open up my date books and look at it, but I would write down my sales and I'd write down the amount, right? Your bookings, your new recruits for the week, Thursday to Thursday is how I calculated that. And each and every week, I knew if I had a good week and I knew if I had a bad week. And then I could be like, well, what did I do different within these 2 weeks, right? Because it all comes down to the effort that we're putting in each and every week on your activity and all that. So I would write those numbers down. Now, you guys should be doing this anyways, because I'm sure you guys do recognition every week. And if you want to be involved in that recognition, you're going to need your numbers. So I really encourage you to write those numbers down, because something that I think everybody says this, but I think my mom would always tell me this: attract number grows. So if you're not tracking anything and you're just like la-di-da, you're not even going to know what you're doing, each and every week. So you won't even know if somebody asks you what's your goal, you won't even know what it should be because you don't know what you've been doing. So write those numbers down every single week. And then the other thing I wanted to touch on is, so that book, coach, sell, recruit, right? Like those are the 4 things that we do. What we do is very, very simple, but sometimes we have to get out of our own way to do those things. So let's say it's booking that you're having, struggles with. You're going to have to evaluate that situation and be like, why am I not booking? Is it because I'm not scheduling out an hour during the week, maybe Monday morning or after the gym on Tuesday or whatever? Maybe you're not scheduling out that hour to book. Like, why are you not booking? Are you booking because you're telling yourself you have no leads? Is that why you're not booking? So really break down each and every book, coach, sell, recruit. I want you guys to write those 4 things down and then evaluate on each one of those why you might be lacking or why you might be thriving, right? And if you're thriving in one of those, share that with your fellow beauty consultant. If you're lacking in one of them, ask your sales director how you can grow in that area. But honestly, it does come down to leads. Now, if you already have friends and family out here that you can start booking with, you might have been in Mary Kay for a while now. So there's lots of different ways to continue to lead generate and all of that. But if you're starting with friends and family, you're already starting more than I started with. Because I had no friends and all my family bought from my mom. I couldn't call up my aunt and be like, hey, do you want a mascara from me, when she's been buying from my mom for 20 years, right? So it just wasn't like that. I had to start from square zero. So I'm not going to go into the whole elaboration of, finding new leads and whatnot, but it all just goes down to the basics. KISS, keep it simple, sweetie. So if you're just like, I have no bookings, so what do you need to do to get bookings? You need to get leads. What do you need to do to get leads? You need to get out of your own way and maybe put out a facial box. Maybe you need to go out and warm chat. Just like evaluate each and everything on what you need to do to be able to do that. But something else I wanted to touch on is, because there's so much going on in the world with COVID and everything, we've had a lot of changes. We've had a lot of changes in our businesses. We've had a lot of changes in our lives. But what I think is super, super important to know how Mary Kay Ash made the business for us, because if we go down to the simple mathematics and science to it, you will move up. If you book your appointments, after you book an appointment, right, you then hold that appointment. You then sell product, right? Well, you're going to coach them to hold it. You're then going to sell product at that appointment, get them on the product. You then want to share the opportunity with them. So then you're likely to recruit them, right? Like it's just like a mathematical step by step by step by step. And if you just follow it, your business will start to thrive and build, working full circle with each and every person that you work with. But if we overcomplicate it sometimes, that's when we get confused. A confused mind does nothing. So you want to really keep it simple for yourself and figure out what works for you. But what I really wanted to touch on with everything that's changed in the world, sometimes what can happen is we look at what other people are doing, and that's where we start to get that confused mind. And so I encourage you to maybe, take a couple nuggets from somebody here and there, but still know like your wheelhouse and what you're good at and go in that direction of things. Because I know from experience, like looking on social media, if I see like another beauty consultant, sales director, whoever she is, you see her like she's working her business by doing Zoom parties, and somebody else is working her business by doing facial bags, and then somebody else is working her business, and you think she's making all her sales by promoting the product. We really just don't know. We really just don't know. So if we just go back to the basics on how we know how to work this business, it will work for you. And so that's my biggest tip I can give you guys, because I think sometimes we just like confuse our brain with so much stuff, but just literally go back to the basics, because the basics works. That's why we have the nationals right now. That's why we have so many sales directors. That's why people are moving up in the business even during COVID. So that's, I guess, what I wanted to talk about today. Just going back to the basics. Yeah. And then I think Mom's going to touch on that as well.
Okay. Yeah. I just kind of want to add to that. One of the things that makes a huge difference in your business is obviously you have to have a goal. And because if you don't have a goal, you don't know what target you're trying to hit. You're just kind of slapping spaghetti against the walls and hoping some of it sticks. So first of all, you have to have a goal. And when you own that goal, you're going to work harder for it. As a sales director, I can give you a goal. I can give you some ideas, some goals. But at the end of the day, you have to own it. It has to be yours, because you're going to work harder for it. And we have to understand why. Why are we going to set that goal? I will tell you, as a single mom for a lot of years, my why, what drove me out the door every single day, was providing for my children, right? Providing, not just paying the bills, but being able to put them in extracurricular activities and be able to buy them pretty things and provide opportunity in a lifestyle. And so that got me out the door every single day. It was not hard to create discipline when your why is strong enough, and we have to understand our why. And maybe your why doesn't have to be providing for children or providing for your family. It can be something different, but we have to understand what is driving our goals. For some people, just achievement can be enough to drive them, right? Just because they want that accomplishment, that can be enough to drive them. It can be that you need to pay your mortgage. It could be that you want a bigger house. It could be that you want to retire your husband. It could be that you want a nicer car. It could be that you're tired of just living paycheck to paycheck. You need that extra money to be able to live a better lifestyle, a higher quality of lifestyle. Your why could be anything, and your why does change and evolve over time. So it is kind of, it can be complicated if you don't know your why, but you can talk with your sales director and kind of help strategize and figure out, well, what is driving me in my Mary Kay business, right? And when we don't understand our goal and we don't understand what's driving us, sometimes we are kind of like in a maintenance mode, that we lack a passion and an enthusiasm for our business because we're not really sure what is driving us, right? So we do have to figure out what's driving us, because you do have to have that goal. And when you have a goal and you've decided you want that goal, it's done. Right? When we have lots of fear and doubt that creep into our mind, it will create a huge obstacle from accomplishing a goal. If our goal is, well, I hope to, I'm going to try to, I wish that, that's not really making a decision, right? That's throwing spaghetti, hoping some of it sticks. The goal is, I'm going to, I will, I must, right? It's deciding, like, I'm doing this. Like, I'm going to be in a red jacket by the end of the month. Or I am going to be in DIQ by June 1st or July 1st, or it is deciding and knowing that it's already done and being willing to do the work to get there, and so as somebody that, talking about Isabel and her growth, my perspective is going to be a little bit different than hers, right? Because standing on the outside looking in, we view it different than when we're in the muck of it, right? And I know that she went to seminar that year as a brand new red jacket. So she became a beauty consultant in April. And then in July, she went to seminar and she was a brand new red jacket and she was excited about her business. She was kind of working it and, trying to figure things out. But she left seminar with a new vision, and a giant on the inside of her that wanted to break out. And, that's what she's talking about. Within those 4 months, she became a sales director because all of a sudden there was this new dream that was growing on the inside of her. And it just took seeing a bigger vision, a bigger picture of that at seminar. And then all of a sudden she's like, okay, mom, what do I have to do? And she never doubted what I said to her, and when I said, okay, if you want to be a sales director, this is what you have to do. It is that simple, right? If you want to be a red jacket, your sales director, Jen, can tell you exactly what you need to do. There's no secret, right? I mean, we know statistically, like 1 in 4 recruit, 1 in 5 recruit. So if you want to be a red jacket, you need 3 recruits. You're going to need to talk to 12 to 15 people. Plain and simple, you'll be a red jacket. Like that's how easy it is. But what happens is we create this fear and this doubt. Like, really, is it really that easy? And we can create something that is so difficult in our mind when it really is that simple. And so with Isabel moving up so quick, I know that's one of the questions that people want to know. As a little 18-year-old, how did she become a sales director? How did she earn a free car? And it's because she did not doubt what I was saying to her. I said, this is what you need to do. And if you want it bad enough, you'll go do the work, And the other thing that I think really helped Isabel, that as a sales director, I feel like, we all make mistakes and we can look back and think, man, I could have done some things differently. But one of the things that helped her move up is that not only did she own her goal, but she was out there trying to figure it out on her own. And because she lived in California and I lived in Missouri, I couldn't coddle her. I couldn't take her hand and take her out to warm chat. I couldn't go and do her facials for her. I couldn't pop into her parties. Like she kind of had to meddle through some of that and try to figure it out, like not knowing the order of satin hands. And even though we have virtual trainings and we have these opportunities for virtual appointments and things like that, back then we weren't really doing a whole lot of that. So that has changed a little bit, but she didn't have anybody to hold her hand. And if you're local to your sales director, it's not that I don't want her to hold your hand. I want you to understand how blessed you are to have somebody to partner next to you because she's making your journey easier, And so even for somebody that lives out of state or far away from your sales director, I don't want you to see that as a burden either. I want you to know that you're growing your business that much stronger and it's going to make you a stronger consultant, And so if you are local, and you need your director to hold your hand a little bit, that's okay. But eventually she's going to let go and she's going to let you fly on your own because that's what makes you a better consultant. Being able to own your goal, go out there and do the work. We're going to teach you how to do that work. We're going to give you the words. We're going to show you everything. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to go out and do it. And so if you want to move up, if you have a goal, something that you want to accomplish, you have to know inside yourself without a doubt that you can do it. It's just a matter of, are you willing? Are you willing to do the work? And I can tell you anything that I've achieved in my business over the years, no matter how hard it was, I can look back and be glad I did it. And I say, yes, it was so worth it, And when we talk about this personal growth in Mary Kay, you really don't develop that growth until you've really gone through some hard stuff, right? Until you've stepped out of that comfort zone, tried something new, failed, right? Tried it again, failed, try it again, and succeed. And, it's kind of cliche to say we fail forward to success, but the truth of the matter is that's just the way it is. Mary Kay Ash always said her knees were the bloodiest of all, right? And that's the difference between somebody that drives a free car, a sales director, a national, doesn't matter. Anybody that has moved up in their business a little bit further or quicker than you is simply because they've got bloodier knees. They've went out and they've done the work and they've done the hard stuff. They've overcome the obstacles and they've just dug in and done it. And it's not hard. It doesn't have to be hard. It is so simple. Like Isabel said, we book, coach, sell, and recruit. It is that simple. But there's 2 things I think that make it hard for us. It's the first one are distractions, right? We have distractions in life that we allow. Well, at the end of the day, we allow them to hold us back, right? And we may even justify in our mind, like, well, I got to do this and I got to do that, but it's distractions, right? And then the other one it's emotional management. You know, those are the two things. If you can kind of figure out those two things, you're unstoppable. You're absolutely unstoppable. You know, sometimes our emotions do get in the way because maybe it's rejection or maybe it's the fear, the doubt, the things that go on in our head. But that's why you have to show up to everything your director is offering, everything the company's offering. You got to, everything in person, everything virtual, you got to show up. And that's why I say at the end of the day, that's why I'm still here. I don't know if I would have been able to make it if I wasn't showing up to everything. It kept my foot in the door, it kept my head straight, and it helped me personally grow and to understand how to do this business and to believe in myself, right? Because 20 years ago, I didn't believe in myself. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of failures, you know, and then a lot of successes to be able to have that personal development where you start believing in yourself, and you can't give what you do not have. And so if you want to give your children confidence, if you want to give them courage, if you want to give them optimism and a high self-esteem, you have to have those things yourself, you know? And so when I was hearing those things, I thought, man, I really got to work on myself if I want my children to have the best opportunity possible. And so I was willing to do the hard work. And you guys, it's fun. At the end of the day, I like showing up. I like the prizes. I like the recognition. I love all my girlfriends. And so anything that hasn't been my favorite in Mary Kay, or a failure or something that was hard, I know that there's a rainbow and a pot of gold on the other side of that. And, you know, when you've experienced those successes, you're willing to muddle through the failures in a sense. So what I'm going to leave you with today is make sure that you have your sight set on a goal, a target, know what you want and why you want it. And then if you're not sure how to get there, talk to your sales director, because she'll give you step-by-step how to get there, and just have the willingness to do it, you know, because you'll be able to look back and say, man, I'm so glad I did. So that's what I have, Jen.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. I've already taken like 4 pages of notes. So I have a question for both of you guys. First of all, Cass, I'm just going to touch on something that you said a couple of times, which is always show up.
Mm-hmm.
And we know, of course, that those that show up go up. But what would be a tip for you for someone who's busy? They have, you know, I know as a single mom, or someone whose husband works a lot,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you showed up at everything. What would be a tip that you could give someone who
Mm-hmm.
is a busy mom or college student, or, you know, we
Mm-hmm.
have a wide variety of consultants. And so what would be a tip that
Mm-hmm.
you would give on helping them create that mentality of always showing up?
Okay. You know, and I will say this as a sales director, you know, I tell my people, I want you to want to be here. I don't want you just here out of obligation, and I don't want it to be dreadful. First of all, I want you to want to be here. So that's the first thing, is I want to be there, want to go, because if you want to, you know, then it's easier to make it happen. When it comes to being a single mom or just a busy schedule or a husband that works or whatever, you know, and that can be I would say a legitimate obstacle for people, but if you don't allow it to be an obstacle, it won't. You know, one of the things that I did, I always had that one person, right? I mean, you have to have somebody that you can call and or schedule and say, hey, can you watch my kids? Can you take them here? But one of the things is I put my kids in activities. You know, they went to the gym and they went to dance, and I would drop them off. I would go to my meeting. I'd go pick them up. You know, they have open gym nights where you pay $10 or $20 and they get to go play in the gym and supervise, right? It's like a glorified babysitter is what it is, you know? And so there were times when my kids were little. I mean, I remember Isabel was born at the end of February, and we had career conference at the end of March. She was like 4 weeks old and she was nursing. Well, I took her with me, right? A 4-week-old baby, she's sleeping, she's not doing anything, but I needed to be there with her to nurse her. You know, there was a time where I wanted to go to career conference, and it was in Kansas City. And at the time, you know, it was difficult. I had both of my children and my husband couldn't take care of them. So I called my sister and said, hey, if I were to pay for the hotel, would you come with me and care for my children so that I can go to career conference, but I'll be there to like feed and do all the things. You know, you have to problem solve. There's a solution to every problem. And so no matter what the obstacle is, if it's childcare especially, or it's the busyness, there's a solution. You have to just look for it. And then the other thing I'm going to say is that when you make your business a priority, for example, your success night, if you always show up at your success night and your family knows that, then they learn that not to schedule anything during those nights. They're not going to plan a birthday party or a get together, or they're not going to, because they know, oh no, that's for Mary Kay night. And so once you teach your family and your friends, like this is a priority in your business, there will no longer be events you're missing, because they're always going to know, oh, that's her Mary Kay night. We better do it a different night, And so that takes time to kind of train the people in your life not to do that. But there were times, I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, it can be tough. And there were times, I will tell you what, it was soccer. I swear it was soccer every single year. And all of their games would be on a Thursday night. And I would tell my kids, they'd have like 6 games, right, in a season. And I'd say, okay, I'm going to go to 1 game, right? Because my meeting was that much of a priority in my life and in their life. And it didn't even hurt them. They barely remember it. So it is making it a priority. Want to be there, train the people in your life, and just be solution minded to figure it out.
Love those tips. Love those tips. Awesome. Okay, Isabel, we have consultants that live in different areas of the country, of course, Missouri, but then we have Texas and Kentucky and Florida and everywhere, right? What would be your one tip on booking? Because I think that is the one thing that stops people is, maybe they've had a few friends and family that they've started with. And even if they go through that, then they get to a place where they're out of people, right? And you started from your mom having your friends and family and not knowing anybody. So what would be one of your biggest booking tips for,
Yeah.
anyone?
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like sometimes we say the same things over and over and over, and it can be like frustrating because we're like, like she keeps telling me to do facial boxes, and it's like, well, maybe we should do them. So
Yeah.
I did the same thing, and I had to kind of go through that same cycle as well. The main ways that I receive like new people to work with, I'm going to tell you guys, one is facial boxes. No matter where you live, if you're in Texas or wherever you're at, you can put facial boxes out. Where you're going to put these facial boxes are going to be like nail salon, massage places, even little hole in the wall coffee shops, like any yogurt shops, any places where people like, it's like a family owned business, like mom and pop places. Those are fabulous places to put them. But you have to think about facial boxes. They are working for you. So like right now I have been vacationing for like 3 weeks. I am not in California for 3 weeks. I have been traveling. Well, first of all, I can tell you guys, I planned enough ahead to make sure I held a ton of appointments before I left so I could gather a mass amount of referrals to book while I'm out of town. So when I get back, I have bookings. But another thing is I have all my facial boxes that are out. When I get back into town, I will be popping in to collect all those names and numbers that people signed up while I was out of town. So facial boxes are fabulous because they can work for you while you're not doing anything each and every week. Now, facial boxes, you have to wait, right? We have to maybe wait a week to get a couple names and numbers. So that can be a little bit slower than if you're like, I want to become a red jacket in 2 weeks, and you have 0 team members. You might need to be working a little bit quicker than that. One other thing I wanted to touch on for facial boxes, you might be sitting there and being like, I've tried facial boxes and then I put one out and it got thrown away, right? We can't put out 3 or even 5 facial boxes and be sad that we didn't get names and numbers or whatever it is. I can tell you firsthand, I have put out over 25 facial boxes. I have probably made over 40 facial boxes. Like I have had to put out so many facial boxes, and guess how many I have that have stuck? Out of putting out over 20 facial boxes, I have 3 that are like solid. Like I will come back and I get new names and numbers every single week. They produce. To find those couple places that are going to produce for you, you can't just put out 2, 3, 4 facial boxes, or else you're going to be disappointed. So I'm going to tell you guys that. So if you're wanting bookings, you obviously need leads to work with if you feel like you've worked through your friends and family. But now let me touch quickly on referrals. You have to be getting referrals at your appointments. And I emphasize this with my girls a lot too, because You want to work through your people. You want to work smart. So something that I say, and maybe the verbiage will help you, because that's what I've kind of worked with some of my girls. It might just be some verbiage that you're using that isn't, enticing them enough to put names and numbers down. When I give them the referral sheet, I tell them, okay, so we're going to play a game. Sometimes I make it a game. If it's one person, I don't make it a game, obviously. But I say, okay, so this right here, this is our fabulous referrals. What this is you can actually gift any of your friends and family a free pampering session with a little gift certificate from you. I let them know, like, this is from them. I tell them, these are people you like. These are like mom, grandma, aunts. You're going to have to give them examples so they get their wheels turning. So you give them that sheet, you give them examples, mom, and have enthusiasm. I can't emphasize that enough. If you've read Mary Kay's autobiography about enthusiasm, it is so true. So have that enthusiasm with them. Tell them they will totally love it. If you think anybody in your life will enjoy this, just write their name and number down, be super, like, it's very relaxed. It doesn't have to be something that's awkward. You don't have to be like, do you want to give me names and numbers? Like just say something, that makes you feel comfortable. That's my verbiage. If you need to rewatch that and listen to that, that's what I do to get referrals. And then the third thing I do is you have to warm chat. Now, how you warm chat is based on what you want to do and what you're comfortable with. I can tell you, I am not super comfortable walking into like a Walmart and then like warm chatting 5 people. Like that kind of makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Now, can I do it? Yes. But it's one of those things where mom says, like, there's certain things in your business that maybe aren't like the greatest things in the world, but on the other side of the rainbow, there's that pot of gold. Well, maybe going into Walmart and warm chatting 5 people is like so dreadful, but when you have 3 bookings on your books, are you going to be excited? So it's kind of, you got to evaluate those things. I do roses. So I just warm chat women by handing out free roses. That kind of, for me, opens up the door a little bit more than just like cold, like, can I talk to you about something? Like for me, like, I have a free rose for you, kind of opens up the door. So then I can say, and, I'm with Mary Kay and blah, 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 blah. And then I warm chat. Warm chatting is going to get you new names and numbers that day. Facial boxes, you're going to have to wait a week. So depending on how quickly you're wanting to work your business, I know Mary Kay Ash always said, I believe 5 names a day and your business will be thriving. So that's kind of what I have with leads and bookings. And we kind of, with bookings, we just have to get out of our own way. Like that's a big part of it.
Yeah. It's just trying and figuring out what works best for you.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay. Can y'all see why they are such a dynamic duo? Oh my goodness. And I know Cass, I mean, just being a mom, I know you're so proud of your daughter. So
Absolutely.
I love it. I'm thankful for our relationship and friendship, and I appreciate you both. And so I just want to let our consultants know, be sure to fill out the feedback form and answer the questions, and then you'll get the homework assignment from me. So thanks, you guys. I really appreciate you. And I'm just beyond proud of how awesome you both are. Just amazing leaders in our business. And I know that's why you're successful. So thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you.